You're listening to my cousin DLils on
It's DLils, you rockin' with hip-hop and home runs. We don't criticize pros, man, it's all fun. Urban media, yeah, we talking sports, debating issues, spitting game on and off the court. It's hip-hop and home runs.
Hip-hop and homeruns.com.
Hip-hop and home runs, you're with DLils. We're live in South Beach right now at the beautiful Starlit Hotel. While we're out here at beautiful South Beach, I want to continue to thank my fans for following me and making me the #1 sports urban podcast in America right now. Sights and sounds of South Beach are just remarkable. As I'm on Ocean Drive right now, I'm compelled to talk about the two sports teams, the major sports teams in Miami, the Miami Heat and the Miami Dolphins, both of which need to do a number of things in order to become prominent ball teams in both sports right now. And I want to start with the Dolphins. The Dolphins have quite a bit of things to do in the offseason in order to become a contender again, specifically in the AFC East. If you look at their coach, in my eyes, Joe Philbin is very similar to Jason Garrett. In fact, I've deemed him the Jason Garrett of the AFC East because he began his career in Miami with a 7-9 record, followed by 2 8-8 seasons, both very similar to the Dallas Cowboys. I fully expect the Miami Dolphins to not only win the division next year, but to get to the divisional round in the playoffs. So that's a bold prediction for 2015-2016 season. If you look at their statistical breakdown, the Dolphins were both in the middle of the pack, offensively and defensively, ranking 12th and 15th respectively. But they are on the verge to becoming a top team, and I can tell you exactly what they need to do in order to elevate to that next level. If you look at Philbin's previous team, he was offensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers in the mid-2000s for about 4 or 5 seasons. He had his most success with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Now, again, is Ryan Tannehill agreeing? Is he an Aaron Rodgers? In no way is he an Aaron Rodgers. But he has the tools of being an above-average quarterback. Offensively, they need to address a few things: running back and tight end. If you look at their rushing game, they were 24th in rushing. Where do you start with rushing? You start with the offensive line. You have a great offensive line, okay? Mike Pouncey, he's going to his 2nd Pro Bowl. They're starting to have some continuity since the post-Jonathan Martin scandals. Their rookie, Jawan James, was selected to the all-rookie team. Brandon Albert from Glen Burnie, Maryland. Shout out to Anne Arundel County Athletics. He'll be returning from IR to form a more than solid offensive line. So they're not having offensive line issues at this point. But again, 24th in rushing could be attributed to their lack of premier running back. They had no Sean Moreno. His stats may have been inflated with Denver 2 seasons ago because he was with the outstanding Peyton Manning. But, they have to replace him with a strong running game. I'm not just talking about Lamar Miller. They need a marquee running back. And here's 3 guys where I think that, they need to look at potentially. Number 1, Stephen Ridley. Okay, he's a free agent, very versatile, high IQ for a running back coming from the New England Patriots offensive system. He would give Tannehill that out of the backfield passing threat that he has been missing in the intermediate passing game. Now, Stephen Ridley would be a guy, if they want to continue to use Lamar Miller as a workhorse back, you can bring Ridley in on 3rd down to provide that 3rd down out of the backfield, or you can split him out and he can be just as good as a receiver as he is a running back. If you don't want to go with Ridley, my number 2 guy on the list would be Darren McFadden. He didn't have a good career in Oakland, but you're talking about a pure workhorse back. He still has a lot left in the tank. He hasn't had the most productive line to run behind. And in Miami, that's going to change. He's going to have the holes there. Not to mention, in the AFC East, you have to be able to run the ball. Bills run the ball. They're especially going to run the ball, Rex Ryan. The New York Jets, until they figure out what they're going to do with their quarterback, they're going to be a run team. And in addition, the New England Patriots are going to be a run team. So, they have Tom Brady, but again, as you see these older, more vintage quarterbacks become later in their career, they have to develop that running game. The 3rd guy I think that they ought to take a look at, Ahmad Bradshaw. Okay, for one, he's familiar with their style of running game. Okay, he's a zone guy. He's able to find the holes. He's able to get through the small areas if need be, and he's a change of pace guy. He has both power. He runs downhill. Very similar to No-Shown, only he's a little bit more reliable. He's 1 year older than their previous back, Daniel Thomas. And he can carry a bigger load, not to mention he has a championship pedigree. So, you bring that to South Beach, I think Ahmad Bradshaw would be great. But I think that based on the Dolphins' short passing attack, I think Stephen Ridley would fit their system well with Lamar Miller. If they want to hold on to Lamar. If not, they need to go with Ahmad Bradshaw. If they can't get Bradshaw, go with the Darren McFadden. Now, in addition to running back, they got to fill their holes in the tight end. Charles Clay, sorry to say it, he's a bum. I'm famous for calling guys bums, but he is what he is. Great offensive line blocker. Tight end, he had about 693 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's not that great of a tight end. He's 6'3". He's a big target, but he's not Jermaine Gresham size. He's not Rob Gronkowski size. He's not that guy, okay? But there are some of those type of guys out here on the free agent market, starting with who might be the number 1 tight end right now currently in the league after Gronk, Julius Thomas. He's a free agent. Now, the Dolphins are going to have to pay for him. If you want Thomas, you're going to have to pay. No question about it. Again, if you're willing to go into a little deeper into your pockets, you're going to have a guy who is in his prime at age 26. He's going to be a great target up the seams in the middle of the field. And you add him with Landry on one side and Wallace, if he stays on the other, you're going to have probably a top 3 passing attack in the NFL, not alone the AFC East. Another guy they need to look at potentially, Larry Donnell, however you pronounce his name. He's with the New York Giants this past season. Again, he really gained some invaluable experience with Eli Manning this year. He's only a year older than Charles Clay, a little bit larger of a target, tad bit more athletic, and he's not going to break the bank because he didn't have off the mark statistics this year with the Giants, but he did show that he can be an effective receiver. I think the Giants are going to re-sign him, but if they can get one of those 2 guys, I think that's going to dramatically improve their passing attack, and not to mention their overall run game. If we look at the defensive side of the ball, defensively, they ranked about 15, middle of the road. They have guys. You're talking about you have a lockdown corner in Brent Grimes out there, okay? Defensively, they have the guys at corner in the defensive line with Wake and those guys that they can continue to make an impact, but they need to strengthen that linebacker core, okay? Or change the scheme, one or the other. They haven't had that stable middle linebacker since Zach Thomas, since the Jonathan Vilma days, and that's what's separating them from being the elite AFC East defense that they used to be. Again, now they have talent who was out this year. You talk about some real bad injuries, had guys on IR, Daniel Ellerbe, Louis Delmas at safety, Jamar Taylor at the other corner. They were all on injured reserve. So when they get those guys back, you know, they may be effective. They may return this defense to a high rank. But here's a couple of guys that I think they should look at in linebacker free agency that I think would make dramatic impacts, okay? You just want to start out with Brandon Spikes. Brandon Spikes in Buffalo, also Ray Maluga in Cincinnati, both prime of their career, only 27 years old. They both were in top 10 defenses. Okay, I think the Bengals were around number 6 or 7, and Buffalo was a top 2 or 3 defense for the majority of the year. They would be the missing cog in these defenses. Both guys, ferocious tacklers, and are going to shore up the middle. And the rushing defense will be dramatically improved. And they both are decent in the passing game from a defensive perspective. And if they don't want to go with the younger guy and want to go with the more veteran presence in the locker room, David Harris, who's also familiar with the AFC East. You know, great defensive play caller. Will truly dictate the offensive play calling from the other side and be able to, you know, forecast what players are going to be run down the stretch. Okay, so that's what I got on the Dolphins.